She's been a versatile professor, undertaking various portfolios like being a part of the IQAC committee, editorial committee, and holding many other portfolios in the college. She has been invited as a resource person many a times in many colleges in the city, and she has also presented around 16 papers in both national and international conferences. She was also part of the textbook preparation by Tanshe. We are very privileged to have you amidst us, Priyadarshini ma'am. And this is not only the first time, I think for the past 10 years, she has been always available for me whenever I required her as a resource person on behalf of the Department of English. We welcome you, ma'am. And now I think you can begin. Over to Priyadarshini.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Before venturing into the topic, I would like to thank the Secretary, Assistant Secretary, Principal Ma'am, IQOC Coordinator, and Head Department of English and other faculty members for joining in, and especially this particular day. I'm going to talk about how to develop speaking skills. Especially speaking is one of the most important skills that the student should acquire. Ma'am, am I audible? Is my volume is right?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, thank you. Especially in today's program, I would like to take it in this manner, that is, first, let us see what is speaking skills and what are the things that the student should acquire in developing this particular skill. And the second half, I'm going to share about like how, being a faculty, we can help the student acquire this skill. On this screen, can you see the PPT PowerPoint? Can you see the PowerPoint? Smita Madam?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Okay, all the great speakers were bad speakers, says Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's true, right? Even when we began, it was like that. So the situation is not too difficult for us to understand from the student point of view. Especially, just a minute, I would like to put a full screen. And speaking skills, which plays a very important role in communication. It has to be consciously developed because we will express our ideas, our thoughts, whatever we want to convey to others, we will convey it through our communication. As they say, language cannot be taught, it has to be inculcated. Oral language is one of the most important skills that the student should master. Especially not only for their academic success, and even for being a socially successful, a person should be good in their speaking. Students generally use this skill throughout the day. Nobody keeps mum, and we know, being a teacher, we all say students do keep quiet, listen. It's a day-to-day process. They use this particular skill for making requests, asking questions, receiving informations, and so on. And especially speaking comprehension, especially this particular language skill, is the most important one that the learners wish to master as early as possible. Not only wish, they should and they must. Speaking, which can be either formal or informal. When we look at speaking situations, it can be interactive and partially interactive and non-interactive. So what is interactive speaking situations, especially when we encounter in our day-to-day life? Generally, when we talk with one another in the face-to-face conversation which we have through telephone, mobile phones, especially when we speak and we listen simultaneously. And therefore, in an interactive situation, there is always a chance for asking clarification, to come again what is being said, and to we are asked to give one's opinion in that. Especially when we look at this partially interactive, which means when we were giving lecture or talk, maybe something like this, we have a very less chance of interaction. But I think today we are going to, in the end of the session, we are going to have a very good interaction session. And partially and non-interactive, especially in a meetings and a broadcasting or a television shows, which almost we don't have any role in asking questions or clarifying. So these are partially interactive, non-interactive sessions. So what the speaking skills comprises of? Because I'm rushing through this because the most important part is what we need, that is how we are going to develop the speaking skill in our students. So what is the speaking skill comprises of? So we need to pronounce clearly, especially the sound, the rhythm, stress, intonation, patterns. We have to say it in a clear manner. And putting words together in a right format. Just a minute, ma'am. Yeah. And using the grammar in a right manner and using perfect vocabulary and where and in what situation we are speaking. And there is a situation we face when we are as a student, when we are speaking with our faculty members, and when we are speaking with our peers, especially with our friends, we can be more liberal. And when we are speaking with our higher authorities or officially when you're meeting somebody and we are speaking, what sort of language we have to speak. So a student should know where he has to, talk in. Uh, for example, I would like to quote this incident that recently I personally encountered. Maybe due to this COVID situation for the past 2 or 3 years, we see students were sitting in their homes and listening to online classes, and there are many students who take this in a more sincere manner, but there are few students, and we know being a teacher that they just put the class in mute and they don't want to listen simply just for the attendance purpose. They're being there, and almost academician call this particular years, these 2 years, as 0 years because they learn nothing. And even today, when the University of Madras have said simply that, yeah, they are going to write only offline examination, students are still hoping that there might be a third wave of corona and they can escape from offline exams. So these are the problems that recently, being a faculty, we all are encountering, and especially this post-COVID situation made has brought so many challenges for our faculty, especially for more than 2 or 3 years, when the students sat at home and they never faced normal life situations. They doesn't want to come out and explore. Recently, almost the way they should speak with the faculties, almost most of them have forgotten. Recently this happened in an college examination, term exams. uh, I saw one of my students just saying, "Ma'am, paper." And his tone of the way he said, the tone of his voice is so authoritative. He said, "Ma'am, paper." This particular tone he expressed, and I was so shocked. Yes, you have a right to ask for paper, and it is my duty, being as an as invigilating in the hall, I should give you paper the moment you want. But there is a way that the student should ask. The tone is important, where he is and why he is, there being a student, what he has to, what skills he has to develop, and how he should speak to the faculty and others. All these, things are important. So he should know where and how to use that particular language. And making the speech and in a coherent way is important. Yes. What are the barriers that the students encounter, especially when the physical barrier, when you talk about when they come to a college, which is a new situation for them, when they come from schools to college, um, uh, maybe somebody would have come from an rural background, or the college atmosphere might be so different to them. So they may have a physical barriers, which they encounter. And sometimes many students have fear, and they does not have trust with their friends, or suspicions, all these stuff they encounter. And cultural barriers, sometimes they belong to a different culture, and when they encounter people from different cultures, they might not feel comfortable. And language barrier, and uh, for example, a student from a remote village has come and joined in a college where, especially a college like yours, more it's Jain-based institution. Most of your the students come from Hindi-speaking background, and where a group of girls who speak in their mother tongue, and these few girls are different, and when they're speaking in their mother tongue, they may not be comfortable in interacting with them. So the language barrier, and then they have gender barriers and interpersonal barriers. That is, people who are so reserved, they might not be comfortable in interacting with others. So we find, being a teachers, we find these many complex situations. So these are the barriers to the communications, and being a teacher, we face all the situation. Now, the $1,000,000 question is that what we are going to do as a teacher to make the student learn this particular skill. That is the speaking skill, the most important skill. So how we can develop it? We can make the student, or we can encourage them to converse. That is, every social interaction which gives an opportunity to the student to practice that language. As I've told earlier, a language cannot be taught. It has to be inculcated. It has to be learned through practice. So we can encourage our students, we can give them guidance to engage in conversations, the interaction in the class. We can ask questions, especially with the maybe in communicative English, which is prescribed for the first year students. All the 4 skills, that is LSRW, is dealt in that particular paper, and we can make them practice these skills more than teaching. And especially we can ask them to talk. For example, when I am talking about a descriptive technique or descriptive writing, even in making them, instead of making them write, yes, you can, in a way or the other, you can make them write, and maybe you can ask them, okay, describe about a recent place you have visited. We can ask them to talk, and there are other ways that we can develop their speaking skill. The next one is model syntactic structure. That is, when we are asking the student to speak, you just not only should ask them to just converse. So what are the things we should see when they are speaking? When we are encouraging them to speak, we should also notice that whether they are using the words in a right manner, whether they are using the phrases and the clauses in a right sense. Are they making sense when they are speaking? And especially in the classroom, when a student uses some fragmented syntax or model, which is, we can make them correct their language, and we can build their oral skill, and we can help them to master that language. Another important aspect that one should develop is maintaining an eye contact. For example, when I look at someone and talk, definitely they will listen to us, isn't it? Right? When you just look at somewhere, when I'm talking to you here, when I just look here, there, and over there, and when many students have stage fear, so they don't want to look into the eyes of the person whom they are talking to. They just simply put their head down and they start speaking. So we should encourage them. It is not easy to look into someone's eyes and talk. So we should encourage them and we should tell them why it is important for each and every one to look into one's eyes and talk. And especially when they look into their eyes and speak, they can also get the other person's psychology, whether they are interested in their talk or not, or what is their opinion. So you can get the sense of what is the situation over there. And especially this will help them to understand better, and they can communicate in a more clear, and successfully they can interpret the most important one, the non-verbal clues. And they'll also have the clarity about what is being said and what is being understood. I think non-verbal clues gives us many more than what the words say, isn't it? When you're taking in a class, when you look at, always being a teacher, we all look at the students and we look into their eyes. When you look into them, and we could see the way their eyes move, the way they look, we know whether how our class is, whether it is going in an interesting manner or it is dull. So what we will do is with the movement of their eyes or their body language, we'll find out when we see a student just lying on the table, we say, come on, what? Is it not interesting? What is your opinion about it? Why don't you share your views? So we'll just change our mode of teaching, and then we will make them in a more participative manner. For example, generally what can we do is, I think Shashun Chain College uses PowerPoints and other modes of teaching, not only just chalk and talk method, but I've heard that many of your faculties use all these new technologies and methods to encourage the students and being more attentive in class. So it is a very nice use of technology, that especially the way you use your ICT technologies to promote and encourage students in learning at their best. It is really good, and especially we can even do it even more, and especially maintaining eye contact is important. Then remind student to speak loudly and articulate clearly. What is articulation? Nothing but showing fluency in the language which they speak. This being a teacher, this situation too we have faced many times. When we ask a question to a student in a class, maybe most of them will do it in a best manner or in a right manner, but we find few students in the class who's not that much confident, or they don't have the self-confidence, though they know. Sometimes we face the situation in a normal day-to-day classroom. We'll put forth a question to a student, and the student would have known the answer, but because of stage fear or thinking that what others might say, what they'll do is they'll keep quiet, or they don't come forward and they answer. So what we have to do is we have to encourage them, we have to give them confidence, and we have to tell them, we have to remind students to speak first and then to speak loudly so that they are audible to others. And when they are speaking, they should also say it in a clear manner so that everybody will understand what they say. And you should also explain the subtleties of tone, especially when the students engaged in argument, especially when you look at their tone, the way they use that particular language, on which are common misunderstandings they have. For when a couple of friends are talking, when one says in a right royal manner, she as if in an authoritative manner when she commands the other one. Our friends become, becomes angry and almost they'll have a fight. But the other one might not have meant in that manner. But the way she has voiced it out, it might have sounded rude. So they have this misunderstanding. So we should also explain to a student about the way that the tone variation should be used. As I said earlier, that how it should be used, especially when you're talking with your friend. Yes, you can be informal and you can be rude, but where the situation, when they are talking to their higher authorities or to their teacher or to their head of the department or their principal, or even nowadays you see situations where the students come to the college office and in authoritative manner they say, we need the certificate, I need it. They demand things. They don't request, they demand. So I should also tell them where they can be in this kind of situation, where they have to be soft, polite, and where they can use this kind of tune. Then another important skill, that is listening skill. Like we may think we're talking about speaking, why listening comes here. If you want to be a very good speaker, you should be a very good listener. If you want to be a very good writer, if you want to be very good in writing, you should be a very good reader. Isn't it? Like the same way here, when you want to speak well, you should listen. So make sure your students in the class are listening. That is, how can we make them listen? Is it possible for a teacher to make each and every student to listen in the class? In my personal opinion, I'll say that is next to impossible. Yes, but we can encourage them. We can give them consistent clues to get their attention. We can use like phrases like it is listening time, and we may give them a reminder. And probably being a teacher, we all know this. This is basic. Nowadays, students don't listen to more than 10 or 15 minutes at a stretch. 15 minutes, what I say is maximum. Maximum. They are very good at listening. 10 minutes together, 8 or 7 minutes. We can just give them examples which is related to the subjects which we are teaching. And then so that they'll feel a bit relaxed. And once again, we'll jump back into the subject. Yes, they'll attend more attentively than earlier. Instead of going so monotonous, just like that, is going on with the text. Yes, we all have the pressure of completing the syllabus and giving revisions to them and making them write tests and making them, nowadays, making them aware of what is the subject which we are dealing with and how to go about it, and making them, pushing them to study is I feel that is the most difficult situation that we face, or I face personally, after this long gap of 1.5 years. And yes, we can tell them that it is time for you to listen. maybe we can bring all these situations, maybe every day, like if it's an 1 hour class or 40 minutes class, 30 minutes the class can go on, and 10 minutes every day we can pick out like odd students or even numbers, like that. One day odd number and the other day even number. You can pick them one by one, or in a random manner you can ask them to sum up, instead of telling them that okay, just say what I have said. We can simply ask them, encourage the students to say, just say what you have understood, even whatever in your sense you have understood. Maybe we can bring this reader response theory into it, especially if at all they are literature students. And especially here, we can ask them, okay, you can just say, now I won't, say anything. What that is, if you say something, what you have understood, no problem, right? But just say what you have understood. I'll help you to phrase the sentence and so on. We can encourage the students to do so. And we can also ask some of the students to write about, maybe one day they can talk and one day they can write, or instead of having different seminar sessions, we can make every day there can be seminar sessions like this. We can pick up a few students, and then when we are asking them to say, instead we can say that, okay, this is going to be a seminar mark, so that you listen attentively in the class, so that they can even concentrate more in the class. And they think, okay, this day, okay, if at all it is my turn, I'm going to lose my seminar mark, so I will concentrate on it. So maybe we can create these kind of situations and we can make them listen more attentively. Then we can also make sure that like every day we can post a new question, incorporate a question of the day, maybe at the end of the class or in the beginning of the class. We can just put a question over there, and then we can say, okay, we are going to go about this particular lesson or subject, and you better going to answer me in the end of the class. You're going to answer this question. You can incorporate a question of the day, maybe an activity. You can even ask them to talk on that particular topic, what they feel, or you can give them some time. Okay, start thinking about it, write few points about it, and then as the class gets on, you just add points to that, and in the end you can make a presentation or take a seminar regarding, for example, I think being in an English class, we can use the stable fable games, and even it can be used for other subjects too. For example, a commerce staff or a person from biology is taking a class on a particular topic. She can collect some clue words from that particular chapter. Maybe one group for a day, they can give those clues to the students. Maybe a few words related to the topic which they are going to take on that particular day. They can give the clue, and then they can share it to the students. Maybe they can share it to if at all they have divided the class into groups, they can give it to those groups. And one group you can pick them out, because we might not have the time for all the groups to present it on one particular day. So maybe one group at a day or two groups at a day, we can call them and we can ask them to present on that particular, with the help of those clues and the words which you have given on the particular topic which you're taking on that particular day. We can ask them to speak. And maybe if the students are a bit reluctant in the beginning, on the first day you can give them few words and on a simple topic we can give, and the next day slowly when the days go by, they'll feel more confident and they feel a bit more relaxed to present it. This particular technique generally I use in my class. That is, I don't give separate topics for students. As I mentioned earlier, I don't give separate topics for students on that. Whatever I take in the class every day, from that I'll have a name list with me. So what I randomly, I'll call out the names, and that particular day I'll give them 5 to 10 minutes to 5 minutes to prepare, and 5 minutes they have to present on that particular topic, what they have listened on that particular day. I will never take what do you call, I will not take no for an answer, but I'll just say, please, you just say whatever you have understood. I didn't want whatever I have said, I do not want you to reproduce it. Just as you have understood, you put forth. If you haven't understood, I will help you to organize your ideas, and then I will help you in saying those sentences. So I'll do that. Please, you can go forward. So maybe the first time, few students will, in a more positive and energetic manner, they will talk and they'll be, boosted to do a lot more the coming days. But there are few students who almost they never come out of it. They are so maybe the fear factor is there, or they are not that much interested in doing so. Simply, I heard some students simply say, no, I don't want to talk in English. I don't like. But I say, this is what the language which is going to secure you a job. Whether you can sell yourself in a job market or not, this is what the language which is going to decide. So this is an English class, whether you like it or not, you're going to talk. Maybe 1 or 2 days they're reluctant, but automatically, like after a week or so, when you start encouraging them, they will start talking. And personally, I have felt this has really worked out for me in my classes. Maybe in the end, you can also share your own ideas and views so that I can also use that even in my classrooms. Okay, then there are other, not only these, there are other activities we can use while we can encourage the students to promote to speak. Discussions, as I told you, before the lesson start, before you start a lesson, especially about a topic, we can ask them, we can give those topics earlier, a day or two earlier, and we can ask them to go through about that particular topic, and they can come, and or at least when you just tell them the topic, you can simply ask about their opinion, so that we are providing them an opportunity to talk. So where we are giving them after a content-based lesson, we are giving them what the particular lesson is all about and what it is, it's related to. We can have a discussion and on various topics related to that. Not only on that, we can just narrow it down on that particular topic. It can be widened up. You can talk more about topic. And for example, few years back in Foundation English, there was a lesson called about e-teasing. I'm talking about long back. but there was a lesson about eve teasing. Then I said, okay, we all know about eve teasing, we have heard about it. And I asked a student to talk about Adam teasing and what is Adam teasing and is it really happening, or only the Eve teasing is the biggest problem that we are facing today. And what is the role that the family plays in eradicating it from the society. And the student found it very interesting, and they all had a big discussion in the class. And almost we went out of the class situation, and everybody brought their own opinions about it. So sometimes a little we can go beyond our subject, and we can bring in those particular discussion or conversation which will help them to improve their speaking skills. Yes, and this is very famous, the role plays. Yes, we can ask them to take roles, and they can put in, especially about the daily day-to-day situations what they are facing, or putting them into a situation of someone else, and then they can do a role play, and which will really make them interest in that particular topic, and they'll come out with their own ideas, and then they uh, give their opinions about it. And stimulation is nothing but you imitate a situation. For example, something happened in a lesson. I think we all would have studied a lesson called Lady or the Tiger. The author, in the end, what happens to the hero, whether he marries the girl whom he likes, or he is being eaten up by a tiger. The author leaves the situation to us, to the audience. And especially when you take a lesson or a prose, something like that, we can even ask an opinion. I've heard students giving different opinions on this particular topic. And once I heard a student say, no ma'am, he should be killed, because the lady should be very possessive. So definitely she would have given him the hint where the tiger is there. And another a person said in a class, no, a true love is nothing but sacrificing yourself for others. So definitely that lady would have chosen a door where a lady is in, because even that when she doesn't marry him, that she wants him to live a happy life. She does not want him to die. That is what true love is all about. So we can get the mind, or we can read the mind of the students when they talk about these real life situations. So it also makes them a responsible citizen, especially when you give them a topic related society, or being an commerce student, they can learn about the present economic condition and what is it up to, and all these situations which they discuss will also make them aware more about the society and being what sort of position they are in. And information gap, this is a kind of game where we can take a famous personality, and we can divide the students into A and B, maybe a handful of students. Maybe we can even play with two, like for we can, when we divide it into A or B. For A, we can give them details about the particular famous personality, where the names of the places and other things will be missing. For the B, the years and other data will be missing. So where we can ask them to discuss with one another and bring up with the right answers. So these are the common situations or the games which we can use in our classrooms, and we all know about brainstorming, storytelling, like this fable table, where, as I informed earlier, where you have in a few in hints are given, like a hints development, and where they have to develop a story about it, and then mock interviews, completing a story. When you're taking a class, when you just leave the story in the middle, and then we can, instead of completing it fully and ask them to, just to sum up, we can say, leaving the story in the middle, and we can ask them, okay, like, complete the story. We can make them creative writers of futures. So these are the common ways which we can use, and we can kindle their speaking skills. Okay, then we can also tell them, when we are making these students to do all such stuff, we can also help them, hint them. Now always keep it simple and clear. They should be aware of the 7 C's, which is important in speaking. That is candid, complete, concrete, courteous, clear, concise, and correct. A student should remember. We should also teach them not only just learning to speak is important, but how they should speak is also important. And also, while they are speaking, they should also know whom they are speaking to and who their audience are. And especially when they are giving a presentation, they should know that they should know who were their audience, and they should reach to their audience, and they should be sincere about it. And to sum up, I can say speaking is essential, because a student who's able to acquire this skill will definitely become a successful person in their life. And not only just speaking, they should also make it more effective, a good communication, which will always enable a student to assimilate more from the learning process, and also it will empower them, because in the day-to-day situations we can see, when you are giving a information about something, students will have doubts, but only few has that confidence to get up and ask for doubts. So when they ask relevant questions, or when they have doubts, they will discuss about it, they will clear their doubts, and they'll be more clearer in getting the ideas in the right manner. So effective verbal communication, which nurtures the process of socialization, and also it will also facilitate by getting new friendship, and especially all this is a learning process. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I think now it is time for discussion. Ma'am? The staff members have any questions, they can ask. And also I would like to share their experience which they faced in the classroom, especially when they are asking a student to speak in a class, or when they're trying to develop his or her, her speaking skills, and what are the problems they have encountered. Like anybody can share your, your views and thoughts on it. Especially when I would like to share. I remember once I asked a student to talk in a class. Nothing, just a self-introduction. She said no. And I said, no, I will never take no for an answer. You have to speak. And she started crying and weeping, almost it's like wailing. Oh my God, I just faced what I've asked nothing. I just asked, her to simply say a few words about her. Then I just felt that's not the most toughest thing I've asked. A few lines about her, then encouraging her little by little, I could make her talk and change her into a confident person. This I felt really happy, because in the beginning almost she had you know before. I can't just express how she cried. I can't even imagine now. Almost as if I have beaten her to death. She just wailed like anything, and almost I become really frightened by the way she behaved. So sometimes we face difficult situation, and there are some many students who come forward, who's ready to talk and who's ready to give their opinions. So all these we face. In a not normal day-to-day situations. Please, can someone share their views and experience? Ma'am? Karpago ma'am, at least you can you?
Ma'am, thank you so much, ma'am, for the informative session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to propose the vote of thanks for today's session. I would like to and foremost like to thank the Almighty for making today's session a success. I extend my gratitude to our speaker, Dr. S. Priyadarshini, for taking the time to be a part of the professional development program series on communicative English and for sharing her knowledge and insights. I thank all the participants who have taken the time out to attend today's session. A big thank you to our Secretary Sri S. Abhaya Sri Jain, our Associate Secretary Sri R. Ashok Kumar Mehta for the constant guidance and support. My special thanks to our Principal Dr. S. Batmavadi and Vice Principal Dr. S. Rukmani for giving us the encouragement we always need. Last but not least, I would like to thank Dr. S.T. Deepa, our internal training team and technical team for all the support and coordination. Once again, thank you all. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.